going? It is Fangs and welcome to something I haven't done on my channel in ages, and that's gonna be some story time with Fangs. Now today, as you guys can tell from the title of the video, it's gonna be a story on how I got roofied. And I have one time in my life been roofied before, and that's not something to play around with, and it's something that's a terrible thing that happens to some people, and really bad things happen to them, where women get raped or men get raped, and it's a very bad drug, and people who roofie people are just bad people in general. But in my story, it wasn't so much of a bad thing that happened. Like, just to get it out and in the open here, I didn't get raped. It wasn't out of malice that I got roofied. It just happened to happen. So you gotta kind of go through, and we'll do a little bit of story time here, and I'll build up to how it happened. Now, how it started was, I was actually in the 12th grade, which here, you're usually 17 or 18 years old in the 12th grade. It was my graduating year. So this year, I was gonna graduate high school, and Doobie, who is now my husband, happened to be going to school at Texas Tech University, where I ended up going to school actually, but he went off to school there. Now, I was not supposed to go to Texas Tech to see Doobie unless I was accompanied by a parent or there was something there where there was somebody older to be there. My dad would not allow me to drive out there because it was a 5-hour drive. He was in Lubbock, Texas. That's where Texas Tech is. I was in Fort Worth, so it's about a 5-hour drive. And in high school, you don't want your kids making those kind of drives and going out to places where there's probably parties and all kinds of stuff going on because it's college and your boyfriend's in their freshman year of college, and so there's gonna be parties everywhere. So my dad didn't want me underage drinking. He didn't want me driving my car out there, but guess what? I drove my car out there. So I decided they had this party, and I might change the name of some of the stuff that was happening because I don't want to implicate stuff or like cause as something that happens with where this party happened at. So I'm gonna say that it was a house party, and it was with a huge group of friends. So there was a lot of people there. Showed up probably, I'd have to say in between 150 to 200 people show up to these. So I decided to make my way down to Lubbock, Texas. Sorry, Dad. And I drove there. I think I had a friend with me. I'm not mistaken, I had 2 or 3 friends with me. And so we went there and we had a lot of guy friends up there. Like almost all of my close guy friends from the year before, from Doobie's grade, ended up going to school there. So we had a ton of guy friends there. So I drove up there, I made the trip, and it was my first college party, although I wasn't in college yet. I might have been 16. No, I was 17. I might have been 16, but I think I was 17, or I had just turned 17, because I was 17 years old when I first went there as a freshman in college, or what you guys would call university. So I was probably 17 at the time, because it was in the winter. But anyway, moving past that, 17 years old, got my friends, went there, didn't care, told my dad I was staying at my friend's house, and I picked a friend who I knew their parent would like not, because there's kids always coming into their house, they'd probably be like, yeah, she's totally staying here. So I picked that friend, and so I went. Sometimes I feel like my dad knew. I made a lot of trips to Lubbock that year because I missed my boyfriend. But sometimes I feel like my dad knew because I'd always get like an extra upgrade in like allowance or something that week. So maybe he knew and he just didn't tell me, but it somehow happened. But anyway, I made my way up there, we drove up there. It was gonna be huge. It was like the biggest party for this time of the year. And so it was a big deal. This sounds like a movie. I don't know why, but this is starting out to sound like a movie. And so I get all dressed up in the dorms. Will lived in the dorms at that time. All of his friends lived in the same dorm. It was called Weymouth, if you ever go to Texas Tech. And my friends were there. We were all staying in different dorms with different guys or whatever. Not like anything bad. It was mostly friends, like me and Will, obviously. I went there and we were gonna stay in the same bed and blah da 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 da. Anyway, but I went there, we got ready, we ended up going to this party, and I swear it was probably like 10 minutes into this party. I don't remember anything that happened. Honestly, I don't remember anything. I remember like there's flashes of this night that I remember, but I remember getting there. I remember there was this punch, which if you ever go to a college party, do not drink the punch. That is the worst mistake you can possibly make. But there was this punch there, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have some of that punch. It looks awesome. I'm almost positive they had these like extras, because whenever they make the punch, they make it with this really cheap vodka called McCormick. They had extra bottles of McCormick to the side, so I like dipped my whole, like a thing of McCormick that was empty and into the punch and was sitting there. It tasted like nothing, so I was sitting there like chugging it, probably 10 or 15 minutes into it, and I remember feeling like kind of weird. And it was like, I felt like my body was weird and I was slowing down and I was like, and everything was weird and I could barely walk, and then I just was like, flash off. And there was like some flashes in between that happened off of that, where I like, I guess went in and out of it or whatever. but it turned off. And so my like knowing of it, I did have a flash. Well, I didn't have a flash. I do remember waking up in Doobie's dorm, and I was in bed with him, and nothing bad happened, by the way. It wasn't like a bad wake up. I was in bed with him though, and I needed to pee, and so I rolled out of bed. I don't know why. I still, I guess, couldn't really walk at this time. I rolled out of bed, and there was a trash can. I guess I had been vomiting. I have a story from his roommate of what actually I was doing, but I guess I had been vomiting, so there's a trash can there. So I had rolled out of bed, landed on this trash can, and it was just like a backbreaker. Like someone had thrown you a wrestling move and just hit it and then plopped on the floor. And I remember that happening. And then I woke up again, and it was the next day, and it was like I had been hit by a train. My brain had been hit by a train. Like I was probably the most hungover, one of the most hungover like feelings I'd been in a while. So what happened? The story behind, you go whoa, 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 and you back up to what happened. It happened to every one of my friends, and it happened to nearly 90% of the people at that party. I don't know how someone didn't die. Honestly, I don't know how people got home. Luckily in Lubbock, they have this wonderful program called Safe Ride, and so somehow we were able to get on Safe Ride. I think some people just got drove home or picked up. I don't know the story of everybody else. Nobody had a bad experience where they got raped or anything bad like that happened, so thank God. This is an experience where it was just a crazy night. What happened was, one guy, I think one or two guys, thought it would be funny to make an extra thing of punch and put the drugs or whatever in there, and then give it to some of just a little bit of the guys, but not to the whole party. They weren't gonna give it to the whole party, just a little bit of the guys, just to play a trick on them. Well, that punch got out to the whole party. So the whole party was drinking it with that in there, and it ended up being to where, like, if you ask a lot of people about that party to this day, a lot of people probably don't remember it, because it was that bad. And so what happened for me, I guess, Will's roommate had to come pick us up. Nice guy, thank God for you. Had to come pick us up, and so I ended up going back, and his roommate didn't stay there because his friend was actually staying there, which is one of my friends named Leo, and he was fine. He didn't drink it, so he was fine. And so what Leo says happened is, for one, couldn't walk, had to be carried into there. Pretty much same thing for Doobie. We got put in bed. Very kindly, we got put in bed and we fell asleep. I woke up, started vomiting because I just get sick whenever I drink too much. So I woke up, started vomiting, and then he said the whole trash can thing happened. And after the trash can thing, I don't remember this at all, but he said I got up after the trash can happened, and I guess I really needed to go to the bathroom, so I ran full speed. And a dorm room is tiny. Like, it's maybe smaller than this. It might be the same size as this room, so back to here. I get up in this position, and I just ran full speed into the dorm door and knocked myself out cold. That's why my head hurt the next day, even more than it should have, because I knocked myself out on the freaking door. And so he had to take care of me and make sure that I was still alive pretty much for the rest of the night. I was one of those stressful people. And that happened to like a lot of my friends, not the door situation, but the same thing where they had no idea. The next day we were just like, oh, what is the problem? And so I woke up the next day to find out these stories, and this is why I had like a bump on my head, and this is why I couldn't remember what happened. And it all was based off to do with the fact that some stupid I think it was 2 or 3 guys, thought it'd be cute to play a joke on some of their friends, and then they did it to the whole party. They could have easily killed somebody. They could have killed me. I myself could have died in this moment just because, for one, I have heart problems as it is. I have a heart murmur. I don't know if I've talked about that on this channel, but I do. I have so many problems. When I think about it, I'm like, I have asthma. I have ADHD. I have a heart murmur. I'm dyslexic, and it just keeps going on. But so it could have easily like screwed me up. People could have overdrank because they didn't know, although once you take it, it just kind of makes you like not be able to do anything. You become like, ugh. And so that probably wouldn't have been the case with that, but it could have caused rape and all kinds of stuff like that that people didn't know about because 2 people were taking it, and I don't even know. That kind of stuff happens. Thank God it didn't cause any of that. We didn't have any of that kind of situation, but I had a terrible headache. I had to live with the experience of having that happen, and I've had it actually happen to some friends where people have attempted to do it. Why you always gotta watch a drink. Ladies, always watch a drink. If you set it down, you come back to it, you don't know what's happened, do not drink that drink. Don't ever drink that drink, because I've had it happen to friends, and luckily they've been lucky in that instance. One where I was able to take her home because I saw it, like I noticed she just couldn't walk, and she ran straight into a sliding glass door and stuff like that. So that, you know, you take them home. You got to pay attention to your girlfriends. Even if you're a guy, it can happen to you as a guy. And you don't think it's just happening to girls, because it can happen as a guy. But in my situation, I got very lucky that it ended up being It happened to a lot of people, and I didn't get hurt in any situation. Nothing happened to me. I just ran into a door and knocked myself out, which I could have probably avoided. And I don't even know, luckily I didn't pee my pants that night, because if you gotta go that bad and you're that drunk, sometimes you just pee the bed. And I didn't pee the bed. I was lucky in that instance, but I did puke all over the dorm, and I felt really terrible for Will's roommate. I didn't feel so bad for Will, because he was doing the exact same thing, although he didn't puke. I don't understand how he made it through all this and he didn't puke. But yeah, so I went to that party, and that was like my first experience of a huge college party, and I got roofied, and it was a bad next 2 days. It was like a 2-day hangover. So yeah, definitely look for that. That's gonna be it for my story for today though, guys. I just wanted to bring that one to you. If you guys want to hear some more, I have like tons of other stories I can bring on. I know you guys love story time. The only way I know you want to continue hearing though is if you smash that thumbs up button, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.